y'all, it's me Alex. Today I have a little get ready with me sort of video that I want to do for y'all. It's kind of going to be a little bit of a first impressions get ready with me because I recently bought some new makeup because woo, buying things is fun. Not everything is going to actually be a first impressions because some of these things I've tried 2 or 3 times. One thing I haven't tried at all. If you watched my last video, my knitting podcast, I've been having some issues around my eyes, so I've been putting off filming this video, but I feel like my eyes aren't hurting anymore, even though they're still a little dry. So basically I used a Melt Cream Gel Liner and Onyx, the black one, as some eye makeup and like as a cream shadow, and while it works great as a gel liner, it's a little bit painful to get off as a cream shadow. So I'm not doing that again, but I think even though there is still some dryness around my eyes, yeah, things are feeling a little bit better in that regard. So this might not necessarily be the same review that you would get on eyeshadow if I were in normal state around my eyes, but that's neither here nor there. So I have about 3 things that are like new or new-ish to my collection that I'm going to use. I guess the star of the show is the Lethal Cosmetics Nightflower palette, which I'm really excited to use when I'm a purple lover also. Like, want to do this fun little thing with y'all. Just satisfying. So there's that. I also got one of the gel liners in Fidelity, and I'm not going to use that today just because I still have a little bit of around cream gel liners at the moment. I'm not going to use anything like that until my eyes are totally 100% healed. Then here's 2 things that I purchased recently that I'm still figuring out my thoughts on, but I have used a couple of times. I have the Lime Crime Bushy Brow Pomade Stick in Sea Witch. It's supposed to be the same shade as the dye that I use in my hair. And well, you'll see when I apply it as to whether or not like you think that that's like accurate. Then I also got the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer in the shade Fair 4N. And I don't not like it, but I've used it a couple of times and I haven't like really formed an opinion if it's like wowing me or not, or if I just need to like, you know, maybe really pay attention to it a little more when I'm using it. All that being said, let's just get into it. I'm going to start by using the Lime Crime Bushy Brow because I like to do my brows first, generally speaking. I'm also going to scooch y'all in real quick. All right, there you go. You can see my face a little better. Woo. Okay, so I like to do my brows first because I feel like that helps, you know, me kind of figure out like what shape my eye look is going to be and all of that. So it looks like this. I've used it about 3 times so far, and I haven't used a brow pencil in a long time. I've been using eyeshadow to fill in my brows, and I was excited when this got released because I've been wanting to, you know, get back into normal brow product. So it has kind of like this shape, and I don't know if I like that shape because when I did use a brow pencil when my hair is like more natural color, I would use like the ABH micro brow or like the NYX dupe of the micro brow, and I liked that a lot and I like that shape a lot. So I don't know if I like this shape quite as much, but I'm just gonna put it on my brows and we're gonna see kind of what y'all think. See, that's kind of the color it gives, and it's definitely going on a lot better now that I've had a little bit more experience using it than like my first time using it, but I feel like it doesn't 100% match my hair color. Granted, I do know that my hair has faded a little bit. You know, this isn't a fresh dye job, although I still think it looks really good. But it has this little spoolie on the other end, so I'm just gonna brush that up and through and really blend the front. And I feel like, I don't know, it's not bad, but something doesn't 100% feel right about it. But I do like it upon this application than I have in previous applications, so I'm wondering if part of it might just be like me getting used to a different medium, because I'm used to using an eyeshadow on like a very thin angled brush. We'll see. Let's try this side. And this one is definitely shaped very differently than the other one, but my brows are not sisters or twins. They are distant cousins, and I'm pretty certain one of them might be adopted into the family, but that's okay. See, I don't think that they look bad this time around. So I'm wondering if part of it is just that I need to use it a little more and get a little bit more of a feeling for it. Because like this was the brush that I used to use, or that I kind of normally use my brows, and you can see how like really thin that is. It's the It Cosmetics angled brush, and you can kind of see that in comparison to like how thick the tip of the brow pencil is, you know? So I'm wondering if it might just be that I'm used to using a different tool, that I don't quite like this one as much. So I'm gonna keep playing around with it, especially considering the fact that I am liking it a bit more this time than I have in others. And I'm also gonna see, like, whenever my next dye job needs to happen, if, you know, maybe it'll match a little bit more directly with the color, because I use the Lime Crime Unicorn hair in Sea Witch on my hair, and the shade of the brow pencil is in Sea Witch, so they're supposed to match. Okay, so I'm going to use my NYX HD eyeshadow primer, and I'm going to put a little bit under my eyes as well, because I think my lids are like good to go, but I still have like a little bit of dryness under my eyes as well, just kind of left over from my mistakes last week. I looked really cute though that night. It looked great. I think this eye especially has been a little bit more of a problem area than this eye. So we're just gonna see kind of how this goes. I'm gonna obviously keep using this eyeshadow palette even after my eyes kind of fully heal, but at least they've stopped hurting. So I'm super excited for the Nightflower palette, because it's like purple and my favorite color is purple. That's why I have teal hair, actually. Teal is my second favorite color, because it goes so well with purple. Yeah, I kind of am really disappointed that I don't have quite enough lid space to use every single shadow in this palette all at once, but that's okay. Also, I love what it says on here. It says, like a wildflower, bloom in unexpected places. It's so cute. I want to go for some of the more like bluey purples for this look maybe. So I'm gonna start with this shade here. They don't have the shade names on the box, on like the packaging here, but they do have it on the box that it came in. Not 100% certain I like that, but it's fine. But I'm gonna use that shade. This is also the first time I've ever using Lethal Cosmetic shadows, but I've been wanting to for like years. And I've had friends who like absolutely rave about them. So I'm really hoping that this goes well. I got this palette like literally the day after I used that cream gel liner as a shadow, and like it came in the mail the day after, and I was so bummed because my eyes were like really swollen and really in pain that I couldn't even like do my brows or like do anything here because my eyes were so swollen. Kind of bummed that I've had to wait as long as I have to be able to use that, but maybe it's like good self-control practice or whatever. Okay, I feel like this is blending pretty well. I've just wanted more purple shadows, and like I haven't been buying makeup a lot just because I've been spending my money on other things, so I feel like I've been more selective in my makeup buying, and this was something that I really desperately wanted. Okay, so I feel like that looks pretty nice. I might use it sort of like light creamy bone shade as my brow bone shade to maybe help blend that out a little bit, because I feel like it blends pretty nicely, but it could use a little more oomph. I also think I want to maybe like do a gradient of this into this on the lid. So I'm going to use this shade here to kind of deepen up everything. Oh, that looks really nice. I feel like this side is blending a little bit better than this side, but I always have like really good luck on this side, and this side's a little, you know. And then I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more of the lighter purple and use it to kind of blend out the top part there, as well as the outer edge. Oh yeah, that looks really pretty and I like it a lot. Yeah, like I said, I think this eye's blending a little bit better than that eye, but this could also have something to do with the fact that this eye seemed to be more affected by my like gel liner mishap. So I'm using this as more of a playtime thing rather than this is going to determine all my opinions on this palette forever and ever, amen. Because I know that it's also just going to perform slightly differently once like I have fully healed eyes. Okay, so now I'm going to use my NYX glitter glue and I'm going to just like make a little cut crease with this so I can put that blue and that purple all over my eyes and just really have it pop, because I always love to use a glitter glue with any shimmer shadow. So the primer, I'm not gonna lie, I think that I still had a couple of dry patches on my lids that I missed because the primer's kind of getting a little tingly on my lids, but I'm hoping, you know, that that's not going to affect it too hard. So I'm going to go in with the blue part and have that like towards the, like this end, and then the purple will be like towards this end. I'm using that purple because I can see that that purple has a little bit of a blue shift. So that's my plan. I'm going to use one side of this brush for the blue and the other side for the purple. The blue shimmer is coming across very soft, so that's like nice. Okay, and as I'm kind of like tapping this on, the like glitter primer is a little less tingly on the eyes, so I think it's just like my eyes are getting used to having makeup on them again. Also, my house is so, like, the air is so dry here. I feel like anything, you know, remotely that could cause dry skin, like, at all, just this house just takes it out of control completely. Okay, so now I'm going to use this on the inner portion. Ooh, yep, I like this. These shimmers are, ooh, gorgeous. Look at that. I love it. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit more of the like darkest purple and use that to just like blend out the blue into the matte and make it a little bit more seamless out there. Oh yeah, that looks really pretty. I love it. I can definitely like, maybe it's, I can't tell if this is my lids or the shadow or like what. I can definitely tell that it's making my eyelids look a little bit like wrinkly, but I think that might just be like the state of my lids. Like you can kind of just, you know, see a little bit of a crease, so the texture is a little weird. But I think it's just like the combination of the lighting and like the eye problems I've been having recently. I'm going to just clean up my under eyes a little bit. Make sure that we are like in good shape for me to do that. I'm not gonna do too much, I think, on the lower lash line, like not do anything too particularly intense, because like I said, that's where most of the damage still is from my incident. So I think I'm going to just start off with the same shade that I started out with in the crease. Use it on a fluffy brush. Beautiful. It's like kind of a gentle smoking out, and I think I'll just deepen it up in the same way that I did my crease. Okay, that looks nice. And Then just taking the deepening up shade again and just putting that a bit closer to the lash line. And I'm only going to use that on like the outer portion because I just feel like that looks better. Yeah, that's definitely catching on the dry patches, but you know, that's not going to be something particularly noticeable unless you like get like this close to my face. Still social distancing, so we're good in that regard. I am going to add a little bit of this purple like on the inner portion of my lower lash line, just like as a treat. Don't know how noticeable it's going to be because I'm not going to put down a glitter glue or anything, but there we go. I think that looks pretty nice. I feel like I have two options for my inner corner, which would be this one, or I could even, how cute would it be if I did the blue? I'm gonna do the blue. Yeah, because I think that'll really pick up like that I did blue on my lid. So let's just see. Oh, that'll be so pretty. Just go me on making that decision. Okay. That was a little extra, but that's fine. Okay, yes. Oh, this blue makes me so happy. I love this. I'm obsessed with this eyeshadow. Okay, now I'm gonna use the little like bone shade at the top. I don't know if it's going to be quite light enough for a highlight, for like a brow bone highlight, but I feel like it's definitely worth a shot. Okay. Yeah, not bad. It doesn't do like too much, but I think it does sort of help with, you know, the blending of the shadows, because I know that purple shadows, I've heard from like people that purple shadows are like harder to make. So, you know, and make them like super blendy. So, you know, we all need a little help sometimes. And sometimes we get a little help from our friends. Sometimes we get a little help from a matte bone shade. So now I'm going to curl my lashes and put on some mascara. If my eyes were feeling a little better, I would put on some false lashes because I have been doing that recently, meaning that like I put them on once and I thought it looked nice. So that's something you might see a little bit more in my videos in the future, but okay, and then I'm gonna use my Urban Decay Perversion mascara. I recently bought a new tube of it, so that's nice. Y'all, it's so pretty. I can't wait to see like what it'll look like once my eyelids are, you know, kind of fully handled, but I'm gonna be using this a lot. So now I'm gonna move on to my face, and I'm going to be using the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer in the shade Fair 4N. So I'm still forming my thoughts on this. Also, I've been using this sponge from the dollar store, the Dollar Tree. It's kind of fantastic. Don't know what brand or anything, but it's like their charcoal blender sponge thingy. And it's really nice and I like it a lot. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I got a new one today because I lost my old one, but that's okay. So I'm gonna just use a little bit of this everywhere. You know, like I would my normal tinted moisturizer. I've been wanting to try more tinted moisturizers simply because my NYX Bear With Me is being discontinued, and so I want to have more things I can recommend. And the other one that I really like, the Lip Bar, which is probably my favorite formula. I am currently using their lightest shade, and it's still a little too dark for me when it's not summer, so I need a little bit more of this. I feel like this one is definitely a little bit more like watery than the other ones that I've tried. So like that's something to think about, but I feel like it blends a little more easily into the skin and kind of melts into the skin a little more. So not quite as much coverage, and I feel like it definitely gets soaked up by a beauty sponge a little more than some of the others that I've tried, but I do like the finish of it a lot, and I feel like ColourPop has a pretty decent shade range when it comes to tinted moisturizers, because I feel like a lot of tinted moisturizers kind of like half-ass their shade range. Like, I get that because it's not quite as much coverage, you don't have to like put out as many shades, but like, you should try though, make an effort, you know? So I like this finish a lot. Like I said, it's definitely thinner than the others I've tried, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I love that it has hyaluronic acid in it, because that is an ingredient that just tends to work really well for my skin in terms of skincare. So I feel like, you know, adding more of it isn't that bad. So now I'm just going to use my Noon palette from Midas Cosmetics, which I know they're shutting down. I'm really bummed about that. So I'm just going to use this up because they also have like run out of the Noon palette, so I can't even buy a backup, which is really sad. I feel like most face palettes have like 1 or 2 shades in it that work for me, but it's usually like one of the shades is kind of off from what I could use, even when it's meant to be like tailored to like a certain skin tone. Usually like something in it doesn't work, like you know, the bronzer will work, but the highlight won't. But all 4 of the shades in here are really, really fantastic in terms of like just generally working for me, you know? Kind of sad that once I'm done with this, I'm like done. And why not bronze both sides, even though I normally don't really care that much about this side of my forehead since I have bangs. Then I'm going to highlight a little bit. I always like to highlight before I do my blush, because I feel like the blush kind of helps everything else like blend in a little more. I got a set of Eco Tools brushes for Christmas from Casey's parents, and I love this full blush brush. I feel like it gives enough like fluff for a blush brush, which is really, really hard to say. But like, it's not so fluffy that it like takes over my face, because I do have to be a little bit more controlled with my blush because I have a lot of redness right through here, and if I'm not careful with the blush, I look feverish, I look ill. So I don't want to do that, but I feel like this is a good amount of blush, and this is a good shade of blush that goes with everything. So now I want to figure out what I want to do with my lips. I was originally planning on like doing a dark lipstick, but I don't think I want to do that. I feel like maybe it's just a clear gloss kind of day. Yeah, so I'm just going to use my Lime Crime Wet Cherry gloss. Yeah, that looks good. That's kind of exactly what I want. I really need to buy a full size of this. That's cute, and it smells really good too. Okay, so my first impressions on everything, or second or third, depending on what product we're talking about here. Gel liner, no impressions yet. Will try in the future, just not today. The palette, I really like this. The mattes are like, I think they're really good. They're not like super in your face pigmented, but they still have enough color, you know, and I love anything that's too pigmented. You know, I would prefer too pigmented versus not enough pigment. And I feel like this has like good pigmentation. It's not a whole lot though, where if you don't have the same taste in eyeshadow as me, you'd have a problem with it. So I like that. The shimmers, I am so impressed. They are gorgeous. They are fantastic. I can definitely tell I have a little bit of texture on my lid, but I think that's more of what my skin is doing right now versus what like the palette is doing. So I definitely didn't get to try all of the shades in the palette, but I'm going to be working my way through them because I adore this color story. I love blue and purple eyeshadow. I feel like they absolutely nailed this in terms of making something that I would really enjoy. So I'm going to be getting a whole lot of use out of this, and I'll hopefully come back with a few more looks to review all of that good stuff. Lime Crime Bushy Brow. I'm looking at myself in the camera right now. I think I like it. I think I do. I think that it looks good, and it's definitely just taken some getting used to in terms of like a brow product for me. I still feel like I could be honing my skills a little better, but I think that I'm probably gonna come around to liking this eventually. I just need to get used to it because I used eyeshadow in my brows for like 2 years, and that's definitely something that's very different than a brow pencil. And I am really excited that they have been making these, because these have been around for about 6 months, maybe a little bit longer, and just the idea of having brow products specifically for colorful hair in a more mainstream brand is really, really great, and something I would like to see a little more, because they have just the brow pencils in that. I would love for them to do like, I know they make like a brow mascara. I would love for them to do that in some of their fun colors, and I do love the idea that they're matching them to a lot of their like best-selling colorful hair colors. So I'm hoping that, like, you know, maybe they can do a few other different formulas and maybe expand it into some of their other hair colors as well, because the more I'm like looking at myself right now, the more I like it. And I think maybe as I get the hang of it a little bit more, I can even use it to like do some different styles with my brows, because I kind of feel like I'm not super skilled in the brow department, and I kind of only get about one look for myself brow wise, and I would like to be able to do like a few different things, you know, like other people with normal hair can. So that would be really nice. And then finally, the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer. I think I like this. It's nice. It has a really good finish. It's pretty watery and a little bit thinner than some of the other tinted moisturizers, but considering how many things just like brand themselves to be like tinted moisturizers and then they're like full coverage matte stuff, I would much rather it go this direction, because I don't like a lot of coverage on my face. I like to put something down to provide like a little bit of evening out and a little bit more of a base for the other products on my face. I don't really like, you know, like my foundation or tinted moisturizer or whatever to be like the star of the show. I want it to help like enhance all of the other things that I put on my face, and I feel like this definitely does a job there. Oh, and the beauty sponge, just because I mentioned it, it's nice. It has a good feel. It has a good bounce. It's all good. Go to your local Dollar Tree and get one. Okay, so it's been like almost 40 minutes, so yeah, that is it. I need to be done filming so I can eat some dinner. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. And I will see y'all in my next one. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye!